Marvel didn't just end Spider-Man Brand New Day. It may have secretly revealed where Peter Parker is going next. Everyone's talking about the emotional ending, but I think the biggest clue was hidden in the post-credit scene, because that final minute doesn't just tease another Spider-Man movie, it could be setting up Avengers, Doomsday, Secret Wars, or something even bigger. So let's break down exactly what Marvel just showed us. The post-credit scene starts with Ned's Spider Tracker, a device designed to locate Spider-Man. At first, everything seems normal. The tracker scans Queens, New York, expecting Peter to be somewhere in the city. But then, nothing, no signal. The device repeatedly reports location unknown. That's when things get strange. Instead of giving up, the map begins zooming farther and farther out, from Queens to New York to the entire Earth, and then Earth itself disappears from the screen. For a brief moment, the tracker glitches, a very unusual glitch. Then it locks onto a completely new location, deep in space. That's where it finally detects Spider-Man. And the scene ends with one simple promise: Spider-Man will return. So, where is Peter Parker? There are a few possibilities. The first, and probably the biggest, is that someone removed Peter from Earth on purpose. Maybe the TVA or another multiversal organization trying to save key heroes before reality collapses. Because remember, Avengers, Doomsday arrives this December. And if Marvel follows the comics even loosely, the multiverse is heading straight toward complete destruction through the incursions. Once those universes collide, the story won't end there. It continues in Avengers Secret Wars, and that's where Doctor Doom could completely change reality itself. In the comics, after the multiverse is destroyed, Doom creates Battleworld using the surviving fragments of countless universes. But here's the terrifying part. Everyone living there believes Battleworld has always existed. Why? Because God Emperor Doom erases and rewrites their memories, making himself the eternal creator of their reality. No one remembers the old multiverse anymore. At least, almost no one does. Not every hero died when the multiverse collapsed. A small group survived because they escaped aboard a ship called the Life Raft, designed by Reed Richards before everything fell apart. While entire universes were erased, these survivors stayed alive. Years later, their ship crashes onto Doom's newly created Battleworld, and unlike everyone already living there, their memories are still intact. They remember the original multiverse. They remember the lives that were stolen, and that's exactly what makes them dangerous. These survivors become the first heroes to rebel against God Emperor Doom. Eventually, they're the ones who bring his empire down. Now here's the detail that makes Brand New Day's ending even more interesting. Spider-Man is one of those survivors in the original Secret Wars comics, Earth 616. Peter Parker plays a major role in defeating Doom. He's not just another Avenger standing in the background. He's one of the heroes who changes everything. And he doesn't do it alone. He teams up with Miles Morales from the Ultimate Universe. Together, they uncover Doom's biggest secret, his true source of power. That secret is Molecule Man. The being Doom has been hiding from everyone. Battleworld exists because of Molecule Man. Doom's godlike abilities exist because of Molecule Man. Once Peter and Miles discover that truth, the entire rebellion finally has a chance to win. So what if Marvel is adapting that same idea? What if Peter's disappearance at the end of Brand New Day isn't random at all, but the first step toward making him one of the few heroes who survives the collapse of the multiverse? If that's true, Spider-Man may not just appear in Secret Wars, he could become one of the most important characters in the entire movie. But there's another theory, and honestly, it might be even crazier. What if Peter wasn't recruited by anyone? What if he was actually transported into another universe? There's one detail in the post-credit scene that makes this possible. Right before the tracker locks onto Spider-Man, the screen briefly glitches, and that glitch looks surprisingly similar to the visual distortion we've seen throughout Sony's Spider-Verse movies. In those films, glitches usually happen whenever someone exists in a universe where they don't belong. If that's intentional, Marvel could be hinting that Peter isn't simply somewhere in space, he's somewhere outside his own reality. The question is, which universe? If he's involved in Avengers, Doomsday, he could end up in Earth 828, the Fantastic Four's universe, or possibly Earth 10005, the X-Men universe, where several major events are expected to unfold. Both are strong possibilities if Marvel wants Spider-Man directly involved in the multiverse war. But if Peter doesn't appear in Doomsday at all, Then another option becomes much more interesting. He may have crossed into Sony's Spider-Verse instead. That might sound impossible. But Sony has already opened that door. Even though the animated Spider-Verse films exist outside the MCU, they're still connected through the multiverse. And Sony owns both franchises, so crossing those worlds together has always been on the table. In fact, there were reports that Tom Holland's Spider-Man was originally planned to appear in Across the Spider-Verse before those plans were eventually dropped. That means the idea has already existed behind the scenes. Marvel and Sony simply may have been waiting for the right moment. If that's the direction Sony is taking, there are two universes that stand out immediately. The first is Earth 1610, Miles Morales' home universe. The second is Earth 42, the darker reality revealed at the end of Across the Spider-Verse, where the radioactive spider never bit Miles. That story continues in Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, which releases before Avengers: Secret Wars, and that release order might not be a coincidence. Remember, Across the Spider-Verse already proved that live-action Spider-Man can exist alongside animated universes. So if Sony wants to end the trilogy with the biggest surprise possible, Tom Holland's Spider-Man would be one of the most impactful cameos they could reveal. That would explain why Marvel is keeping Peter completely absent from Doomsday's marketing. And it would also explain why Brand New Day leaves his fate so mysterious instead of giving us a clear answer. So right now, there are two major possibilities. Either Peter has been taken away to become one of the last surviving heroes before Secret Wars, or he's already crossed into another universe, setting up an unexpected Spider-Verse crossover before eventually returning for Marvel's biggest battle yet. Until Marvel finally gives us the answer, both theories remain very much alive. But one thing is certain, Spider-Man's story is far from over. So here's my question for you. Where do you think Peter Parker went after the Brand New Day post-credit scene, TVA, Battleworld, the Spider-Verse, or somewhere no one is expecting? Drop your theory in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to subscribe because we're covering every major Marvel reveal leading into Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars.